Never in my life experienced an October 28th game that meant more.
We changed the...
Don't
we
lie.
changed when we recorded our show.
Don't lie.
In part due to that.
We also were leaving the venue at 1 a.m. going,
I was
pretty tired.
I was so tired. Holy shit.
But there were, you know what? It actually made sense that we did this, and it's the stakes, right? Okay, so the Leafs go into this, and their record is 4-4-1, which is the same record as everybody in their division, save the teams from Florida. Every team in the division were 4-4-1, except for one team, which were 4-4-0.
Ooh.
Every team. And all of them are bad, except for Boston and Toronto, who I think eventually will be good. The rest of them, I don't
Even the
think so.
Panthers, they're ass.
No, the Panthers and Tampa had different records. They were not a part of that.
They're ass.
I just said that.
Ass.
Now, the Winnipeg Jets are going after a piece of history that the Leafs share with the Buffalo Sabres, which is a 10-0-0 start to start a season. The Leafs did it in 93-94. Who cares when the Sabres did it? No, I'm kidding. I actually don't know when the Sabres did it.
We did it last show.
The Sabres did it when they were
that was a
good.
crazy team. I believe both those teams went to the conference final.
There you go. Leafs got pumped by Vancouver in that conference final. No one talks about it, but it was palpable.
Sabres lost to the Sens.
So you go into this, and not only is it a 4-4-1 record, which is overly magnified because we're looking at the first month of the season and everything's sort of out of whack, but it's Toronto coming off of 3 objectively bad losses.
Yes.
Terrible loss versus Columbus. I would say bad loss versus St. Louis, and I would say you deserved it, and it wasn't horrible against Boston. But it was horrible against Columbus, right? Like, we're grading on a curve here. There's a...
It was so much of the Bruins series in a nutshell, I thought. Like, the Leafs did find a way, well, late in the series, to keep games close against them, but they were the second best team.
Right. And so you could argue for both of these teams, so far, this is the most important game of their season. And not every week do you get to say that.
Yeah.
The Jets were really going for history. They hate the Leafs. The Leafs hate the Jets, right?
Yep.
And the Leafs come out, and what do?
They slaughter them. It's the best period of hockey, the best first half of a game they've had, period, this season.
When have we ever got to say the Leafs started a game on time?
They started a game on time and kept their foot on the gas until they completely ran out of gas.
Well, I don't know. I don't think they ran out of gas. I think there's some... We'll talk about what happened in the second and third.
Yes.
But that first period for me, guys, like, one of the things that drove me nuts about the Keefe Leafs was they would start 5 to 7 minutes in after a bad game, and it would mean that they would have to come back from at least a goal.
They had 2 gears to start games. There were no ho-hum starts.
No.
There were still literally unconscious and murderers.
That's right. That's right. And
it's we're down 2-0 after 6 minutes. We're up 3-0 after 5.
now
There's no in between.
Notable, too, there were some lineup changes. Nick Robertson came out, even though he's played well and the coaches complimented him. He just hasn't had the results.
It's not a big deal.
And Max Pacioretty, who is in for the second game in a row since his latest scratching, but they have a rotation going, and they tried out some new lines. So Nyes, Matthews, Marner, that stays the same. Second line, Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander. Third line, McMahon, Domi, Holmberg. Fourth line, Lorenz, Kampf, Reeves. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say it right now. Ryan Reeves had a terrible game last night. He used some bad giveaways, was not effective, wasn't great.
There are too many games, like too many instances where he goes for a hit and it's a cuddle. It's just a cuddle. And I'm kind of like, okay, if you're not doing Ryan Reeves things, then perhaps we should take Ryan Reeves out of the lineup.
Right. He made a pass. He was entering the offensive zone for the Leafs, and the pass went right to the Jets. And I kind of cringed, at that moment, because I was like, okay, you're on the ice for such a limited amount of time. Your job is to affect the game in positive ways and not make big mistakes. And I was like, okay, you got this little scoring chance, and you just kind of gave away the puck. And like, those things aren't helpful out of your fourth line.
What I would do next game: Robertson third line right wing, Holmberg drops down to fourth line right wing, Reeves sits.
Yep. I understand why they have Reeves in that game, because the Jets and Leafs hate each other. There is a rivalry there dating back to 2021 when they played each other all the time.
Tell Logan Stanley watch his ass.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically it.
Exactly. And the game starts, 12 minutes in, John Tavares scores.
Hey.
And nobody on this team needed a goal more.
No. And he has picked up a few points recently, a couple points. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. He's looked terrible.
But last night he looked good. And
Where did he go?
I think he has now looking back on that little week where he was taken out because of his sickness, and then it's like 3 games after that he's kind of bad. You lose 8 pounds. I feel like there's an excuse there at this early point in the season. If it's the playoffs, it's a little different because we're talking like, or if there's something bigger on the line, and we're saying like, you're in there, you have to be performing. If you can't perform, why are you in there? But it's mid-October and he's very sick and he's still playing. I feel like there's a built-in excuse. And now that we have 9 points in 9 games, 5 goals, I don't really think there's anything to complain about right now.
To me, it's a different conversation then. And the conversation is, why is a player who is good and important to this team playing games he very doesn't need to, that could keep him out for potentially weeks or months?
I don't think sickness isn't like playing on a hurt ankle.
No,
I don't feel like being sick is going to cause you to miss more time.
No, but dehydration can greatly increase your risk of injury. And if you lost 8 pounds, I assume that's part of it.
Totally. But I feel like you get up to the point during the game where the medical staff get you
IV drip, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Vitamin B shot in the ass. Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't think it's as physical as you think it is in those moments. He's clearly not up to speed. That's clearly the case, but I feel like there's no long-term risk in playing through the flu.
Yeah,
that is still like a show waiting to happen that I need. It's just an experience I want to experience. I want a professional sports team's medical staff for a week.
Yeah.
Just fix all my shit. Just fix it.
Jesse, do you have Game Center up? You know the goal simulation thing that you're
Goals, yeah.
Oh.
Can we bring up the first goal?
Bless you, Adam.
The
I
reason
almost
wanna
did this in LFR.
I want to bring the goal simulation into this that Jesse has unlocked for us, because this is so key to Tavares' game, but it's also key to somebody else who badly needed some points, who I don't think has played poorly, but needed some results. And that is number 67. That's right. Former Montreal Canadian captain Max Pacioretty, wearing 67 on the Leafs.
I don't know about played poorly, but he's definitely just been a guy.
And
Prior to tonight.
Last night, not a guy. Last night, look at where this ends. So obviously we're in the Leaf zone. Tavares is down low in between.
Winnipeg zone.
Sorry, Leafs Winnipeg zone between 4 and 54, and then Connor Hellebuck's in front of him. And then you've got 67. That's Max Pacioretty. And go ahead and press the play on the simulation.
I believe that's Pionk Sandberg out there for the Jets.
So that there's newly signed McCabe over to Tanev down at the blue line. And so here's where we want to stop.
This is basically a 4-on-5, by the way, because of the line.
Nylander's not really involved.
He's not
in
a
any of this
factor.
play. And
no, because Mitch goes off for a line change.
right.
Yeah, no. Like I'm giving them credit.
That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Because it's not Willie driving everything that's going on with this line, which could be what people talk about today. What I love about this is, look at where 67, you can't even see Tavares, even though he's the goal scorer with 2 lines around him. Look at where Pacioretty is. Look at where Tavares is. If these guys are going to be successful, and I think that they work together. We saw that in preseason before Tavares got sick. If they're going to work together, this is where they need to be.
You know, I see them on paper, and I was like, they're 2 guys. They sort of have similar skill sets. They sort of have similar limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the idea of playing together. Last night gave me the bug. I want to see it.
Because they're smart.
I want to see it more. Well, they're smart.
Hockey IQ with those two is pretty high.
Nothing wrong with an identity either.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to have players who play similarly. You just got to deploy them properly. And this is a road game too. Like, Scott Arniel and the Jets could have exposed these guys, and they were the best line on the ice.
They were. And, you know, the game ends with
this goal, underrated part of it, it started with Mitch Marner dumping and chasing the puck. I think that's Craig Berube hockey right there.
He had a good game.
He comes in on the right wing, I believe, and he dumps it down, and they get possession in the zone because of that dump and chase.
I love
think
that.
That's great stuff from the Leafs. You know, it's awesome on the winning that puck battle behind the net, and then that continues, and then we get this cycle where the goal simulation starts and they score a goal.
Jesse, would you not say that Mitch Marner doing that also shows that he has trust in the guys on the ice to forecheck and get the puck.
Yeah. No, it's a compliment to all 5 guys out there. You know, when you dump the puck in and you're against a tough team like Winnipeg and you come away with it and you able to maintain possession and it leads to a goal.
That was the
Great
Bruins
hockey.
series, dump and not chase. That's what they kept doing. They dumped it, but it was dump and here you go.
Yeah.
That was all it was.
There's like different strategies we've seen the Leafs employ over the last couple of years and like through the Dubas era, and then now we have this new era, and like their whole thing for a long time was just maintain possession. You know, we're gonna enter the zone, we're gonna enter the puck, we're gonna enter with the puck, we're gonna shimmy back to our own zone just so we can hold on to it, but then never have a good entry. And now it seems like they're willing to throw the puck there and just go chase it and battle and keep it in that way.
They have 2 guys who can be monsters down low, and Tavares and Pacioretty, and their movement from the back end is so much better. OEL Tanev is just an insane.
OEL's meaner than I never thought that he was this mean.
He won a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers.
So yeah, does that rub off on you? Because was he this mean in Vancouver? Was he this mean in Arizona?
Well, he definitely wasn't this mean in Vancouver. The Coyotes were kind of an underratedly chippy team for a long time. Again, I don't think anyone ever watched them.
Right.
They were an underratedly chippy team for a while. But OEL is such a difficult player to grade because the Coyotes were ages ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a Coyote for a long time. The Canucks were obviously not an accurate portrayal of what he is. All I have to go on is his most recent foray, which is with the friggin' we can do whatever we want Florida Panthers.
It's funny, the guys that win the cups, like when Jake Muzzin was on the team and he was the only guy who'd won a cup, who was the toughest guy on the team? It's Jake Muzzin. And it was that chippiness, or whatever. He kind of knew it's like, this is what we got to do because this is what works, right?
Oh, God.
I know, it's such a shame. He
trying
should
to
still be playing.
I don't remember if it was 2018 or 19. I guess it would have been 19. I don't think he was here in 2018. He beat the shit out of Pasta. I don't know how that guy was able to play beyond that series. He didn't play for long beyond that series. 2019 they went to the final.
OEL is one of the perfect examples of your contract isn't kind of what the player should be.
Yeah.
'Cause when he was an $8.25 million player with Vancouver and they had every expectation on the world on him, he was never going to live up to those expectations. You know, it was the contract said you are supposed to be this, but he just got paid a bunch of money and accepted it. But it wasn't like that was his skill level at the time, and he was never going to live up to it. But now that he's, $5 million? I was just putting it up there. That's where he should be.
Right.
Know?
And he didn't sign that deal there. That's the key, right? He signed it in Arizona, where he was a standout. He was one of the best offensive defensemen in the league.
3.5. I said 5. 3.5 million.
Can I give you an example of this? Corey Perry was bought out June 19th, 2019. He's still an incredibly useful player.
Yeah.
But because he was bought out, we're like, he's cooked. That's the end of his career.
And Adam, I cut you off there. You're saying he didn't sign that contract in Vancouver.
And Vancouver moved a lot of money off their books because the Coyotes felt like, we don't want this long-term deal. So Vancouver used short-term money to get it off the books and do the flip. And what kills me about the Vancouver thing is, look at the roster. This is a Vancouver team when he was playing that they're like, you know what? We need Jay Beagle. And we need to pay him $3 million. And $3 million not now. $3 million 5 years ago, when the cap is in the 70s, right? Not in the 90s.
Post-Cup Jay Beagle, though.
Yeah,
and you got to pay the tax.
Who was the other guy that
post-Cup
they hired?
OEL.
Who did they hire from? Who did they sign from Dallas too? There was not for Met. It was
the Canucks.
The Canucks signed a guy also at $3 million, who also was not good for them. I remember a bunch of Canucks fans when Jay Beagle scored in the playoffs in 2020. Eat shit, Adam. But yeah,
you got to embrace what that happens.
Yeah, 100%.
OEL won a cup with Florida as a $2.2 million defenseman. That dude, he's amazing at that.
What
price.
value?
There was a part of me the day that was signed. I'm like, they're gonna win the cup.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then you put an $8 million label on him, and you're like, fuck that guy. Get him out of BC. You know?
He was 1,000,000% worth it when he signed.
Yeah.
That was something we covered extensively on this show, but it was years and years and years ago, so we probably forgot. But there was a time where Carlson, Doughty, and OEL were all potentially available, which was nuts at the time. And OEL signing for that amount of money was actually, I think, less than a lot of people thought.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He was so good. He used to be so good. He's still pretty good. I thought, since we're on him,
this is the Brandon Sutter, Troy Stetcher, Antoine Roussel, Louis Erickson.
Oh, Roussel.
Vancouver Canucks. Also JB. So it's a little bit of a different team. Sorry.
Yeah, no, when he signed that contract, like you said, he was very good, but he was a different player.
Yes.
You know, he was more offensive, obviously, and now he's grown into this spectacular other role.
Yeah.
Since we're on OEL, I hated the penalty against him. Don't skate backward into your opponent. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got fined for skating backward into his guy and hitting him, and then he got a penalty because the guy skated backward into him. And I don't know. I think that hit looked a lot worse than it was. As Nemestikov got the worst of it.
I thought the refs had a little bit of quick whistles last night.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of.
I think they wanted to
penalties,
keep a
but-
lock on that game.
Yeah.
I don't like going down that road unless you really earn it. Because I don't know, people are always like, "Ooh, the refs." Riley put it over the glass. He shouldn't have done that. Benoit,
That
starting to get on my nerves.
yeah, but Ehlers fell like a
No,
house of
you
cards.
got your stick in his skates.
Yeah.
They're gonna call that every time, especially in October.
Yeah, Ben was got a.
And I guess the Willie
right.
one too. Like, there's no excuse for that. He just was wrapped right around.
Yes, Willie,
You lost
come
your man.
on.
Yeah.
You lost your man. Now, before we get to that, Willie does score next.
Yes.
So the Leafs go into the second period up 2-0. And it's notable that Max Pacioretty collects his second assist on this. I want to move past that, though, because I want to talk about the first goal of the second period. Again, my question on the stream was like, hey, they had a great first period.
How do they
2
follow
goals is not enough. How slow are they going to be when they come out? Because that's usually what happens, but it isn't what happened this time. And within a minute, the Marner Matthews Nyes line, which had a great first week, terrible last week, hopefully they have a great this week, gets a goal. And I want to throw up Jesse Blake's screen grab.
Yes.
Jesse Blake screen grab of what happened to goaltending position. And Steve, you explained it so well in the LFR.
I know.
Matthews with a shot, Marner with a shot, Matthews with the shot, Matthew Nyes with a shot.
Well, see, and Nice started it all though,
yes, he did.
because he got those guys the puck, which was
On a forecheck.
on a forecheck, an animalistic forecheck. Brad Treliving needs to be, whoever his agent is, he's got to be calling him off the hook.
I told you Jake Sanderson money. I told you, and you guys laughed at me. That's what he's
Sign
getting.
him before it gets insane. No, forget Jake Sanderson. Alexi Lafreniere just did GMs around the league a huge service.
He did.
I'm not saying they're the same player. And meanwhile, Dylan Genther's like kind of screwing it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Here, it's on the screen now.
Now, Jesse loves this because in the season previews, what did you call Connor Hellebuck?
Is this a picture of a television? Why is it in the corner?
What are you talking? No, I put it there so we can have our picture.
Yeah.
Got it. Ooh, no. Here, can you make it smaller?
What's wrong?
Here, no, just make it smaller.
What's wrong? I'm showing you that.
Here, a little smaller. No, I'm just being an asshole.
So, Jesse.
I'm just needling you.
No,
Jesse.
what was wrong with
Nothing was wrong with it. Have fun on a Tuesday.
Jesse,
I don't think. Okay.
you tweeted this because Jets fans have been on you.
Yeah,
Connor
so,
Hellebuck's been great.
Myself and the city of Winnipeg and the Winnipeg Jets have a challenge I created at them. I called it the Connor Hellebuck 920 challenge, where I said Connor Hellebuck this season will not have a save percentage over 920 because it's a very hard thing to do, and he's done it the past 2 years. And I'm like, 3 years in a row is impossible. And I think last night we all saw that we now have to start something new.
What's it?
Connor Hellebuck Fraud Watch.
Oh, Connor Hellefraud?
Hella fraud. It might be look. I don't know if this is how you goaltend, but he's 1,000,000 feet out of the net right now. He's trying to stop a puck, and when they face a good team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, and maybe they had
He had just made 2 incredible saves.
Yeah.
maybe they had 8 straight games of teams that weren't very good, and now they come up with a real team.